From Nashville's WSM Radio, the original home of the Grand Ole Opry, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast.
Hey, it's Charlie Matos, and in this episode of our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast, Exile joins us in studio. Sonny Lemaire, Marlon Hargis, Steve Getzman. 60 years as a band, we would share many memories and chat about a brand new album, A Million Miles Later. Enjoy our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast with Exile.
Exile, A Million Miles Later roll call. J.P. Pennington.
Not here.
Les Taylor.
Not here.
Oh, now we see
Sonny Lemaire.
Here.
Now we see who likes us.
Here. Marlon Hargis.
Here.
Steve Getzman.
Here.
We're present.
All right. So 60%. That's not bad. 60% for 60 years. Look at that.
Oh, there you go. 60 for 60.
I got to think, though, 60 years for Exile.
Wow.
A million miles doesn't seem like enough miles.
No, but it sings better than like 10 million miles later, which is probably more accurate.
We don't really, we have no idea how many million miles we've covered. A lot.
I asked Gene Watson that same thing because you share that 60-year mark.
Yes.
Because he
Oh, really?
recently hit that as well.
Wow.
Boy, what a moment to have
I'm telling you.
the worlds collide here a little bit ago with Exile and Gene Watson.
It's
Yeah.
great to see him.
Yeah.
Great.
He played the Opry last night. He's playing the Opry tonight. And then the Texas Troubadour Theater
And
tomorrow
we're
night.
on the Opry tonight.
You're
as well.
on the Opry.
Yeah.
Charlie is hosting the Opry tonight. So
Charlie. All right, we're in trouble.
run your full lineup over there, host?
I think we're all in trouble. Rhonda Vincent and the Rage, The White, Mandy Barnett, The White's Mandy Barnett, Exile, Jason Crabb, Gene Watson, and we're celebrating 20th Opry anniversary for Trace Adams.
With Trace, our
What a
pal
li-
Trace.
What a lineup for $2. I mean,
And Trace famously shares about Kiss You All Over.
Yeah. Yeah.
he
He cut it.
We re-recorded that with him.
We sure did. And
a few years ago.
it was quite a moment,
It was
actually.
fun. It was fun. It was.
It was
great.
a blast,
Yeah,
actually.
Trace
Really.
he's a great guy.
Well, as I think about those 60 years, we
Yes.
have shared so much, and I say we,
Yeah.
with you guys.
That's right.
You guys just a little bit older, so as I was coming along, you guys were that regional band that most people know from wherever they grew up. It's like, oh, I remember them, you know. But often they didn't go on to national and international success, and that all started with Kiss You All Over.
It did.
And what's your history with Kiss You All Over?
I was the first to ever play it.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
what about
correct.
that?
So
What
talk
about-
about the shared history we have here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
You know-
up on the. It was Jimmy Stokely and J.P.
Yes,
Pennington.
yes.
Up
You're
on
probably-
the
you're
8th
probably-
floor of the old Phoenix Hotel.
Yeah.
In the studios of WVLK.
Yeah.
You were still a teenager, I'm sure.
Oh
You
yeah,
had just
I
started.
was 17, I think.
Yeah.
17, 18 years old. Jim Jordan had hired me.
Yeah.
Ralph Hacker was the general manager.
Yeah.
And Jim was the PD.
Yeah. Well, of course, that was our first hit in 1978. And to those, I mean, thinking that we're overnight successes, you know, of course, it started in 63. So a lot of years, a lot of miles
15.
leading up to finally breaking through, you know.
Yeah.
And it's been an amazing journey ever since.
So was Church Street Soul Revival in Columbia? Would that been the first chart stuff that you guys had?
There were a few regional hits. There was for people who aren't from Kentucky, Church Street Soul Revival was a big regional hit.
Yes.
Kentucky and
Yes.
Indiana. That was probably the first big regional hit.
Yeah,
I'm
it was,
guessing.
I believe.
So if JP were here,
Yeah.
he would be the elder statesman that goes back to what age? Like 15?
He was 14 when he started in the band. And his dad had to drive him to the gigs because he was, you know.
Actually, I think all of us went through that.
Yeah.
We all started at about that same
Sure,
early age.
yeah,
where,
we did.
Where we couldn't drive to the gigs. We had
Yeah.
to have our parents drive us.
Absolutely
JP was
did.
playing bass when he started too. He didn't play guitar until later on.
Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, he was bass player at first.
Yeah.
So the original, what did the original lineup look like?
Well,
Well, I
it'd be-
mentioned Jimmy Stokely earlier.
Be Mike Howard on guitar, Mac Davenport on drums, Billy Luxon
on trumpet.
just on trumpet.
Buzz
Cornelison
on keys.
on keys. Is that it?
Then there were a lot of changes around the first, but that was basically
it. Yeah.
for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And then for you individually, when do you
Sure.
guys come to the band?
Well, Steve
June '77.
He started in June of '77. Oh, well, go ahead, Mark.
I think 74. I think for me, then 70.
7. Yeah,
Seven.
he was in June. Steve was in June. I think I was in October of '77.
Yeah.
And
Was it an audition process? I mean, how
no.
did
We
they-
just
No.
we couldn't find anybody else.
You know-
It was like, no.
what were you, Steve? What were you doing at the time?
I was doing session work, and I was playing at night at a jazz trio at the Hilton Inn,
in Lexington now.
and going to UK as a music major.
Yeah.
And I gave all that up.
How about you, Marlon?
I was playing in another band and doing studio work. Actually, that was kind of the connection between all of us. There was a studio called Lemco. You know it well.
Yeah.
In Lexington, and we all did studio work. That's how we all got to know each other and individually joined the band because we knew each other from the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you actually,
Well-
I think the last work you released were like the garage tapes from
Yes.
that Lemco that you referenced.
Oh, it's
It's
exactly
absolutely-
right.
yeah.
It was all, most of the stuff was from Lemco, recorded at Lemco. You know, that little garage turn recording studio.
It was a 2-car recording studio.
Yeah.
Now, were you landscaping when you got the
Well,
call?
no, that came a little bit later. I can explain. when I was asked to join the band, I was working. There were 2 bowling alley bars in Lexington. I was working at one of them, in a place called the Terrace Room, and JP would come in all the time and sit in. And I got a call one day from Marlon. Said, "Hey, come over. I want to talk to you about something." So I drive over to his house. Now the setup is this: Exile played. They were known for playing original music or cover songs done their own way. And so they were going through some real lean times and not making very much money at all.
We were starving. We were kind of at the bottom of the.
So as I'm driving over to Marlon's house, I'm literally thinking, because he and I had worked at the bowling alley bar where I was playing years earlier together, and I'm thinking he wants to come back. He's going to ask me if he can join me again back at the bowling alley. That was my thought process. So when I walked in and after the pleasantries, he said, "Well, we want you to join Exile." I mean, it was this pause, and I thought he was joking, like what? And after kind of the shock went in, came over me, he subsided a little bit. He said, "Well, I guess you're wondering how much money." I said, "Well, yeah." And of course, at that time, I had a wife and a little girl, and making a fairly good living playing at that bowling alley. He said, "Well, it's going to be $75 a week." And again, you're laughing right now.
Now remember, this is the early this is 70s. I mean,
Yeah,
you
but-
could survive on that. But,
No, you cannot.
well, not with a family. You
No,
couldn't.
no,
Yeah.
I beg to differ. See, what I didn't get the memo. All these guys had girlfriends who had jobs, right? I didn't get the memo. I had a wife and a child, and it was like, I mean, I thought, you got to be kidding me. What?
But he took the
But
plunge.
crazy me. I did it, and somehow, and then later on, as a result of making so little money, Steve and I were working on a landscaping company during the day, just to make it some extra cash to pay, rent and food, for God's sakes. And
Steve, are you just now finding out that you weren't making $75 a week?
We told him it was 25 a week.
I was independently wealthy.
The key word is was.
From his days as a college student
Yeah.
at Kentucky, right?
yeah, man.
So bottom line is we like a lot of bands, we struggled for a lot
Oh,
of
my
years
God.
there before Kiss You All Over hit.
Oh, yeah.
But we stuck with it, and it's we are.
And how did the song come to you? Because it was on a
Kiss?
major label deal. Yeah, it was
Mike
on
Chapman.
Warner.
Mike Chapman.
Our
brought
produ-
it.
our
How did you get the
producer?
Warner deal?
through
Oh,
Mike
through
Chapman
Mike.
and,
Okay.
and our manager Jim
Yeah.
Morey at the time. So yeah, but that's how that all came about.
Yeah. And here we are again, 45 years
All
later,
these- all
after
these-
Kiss You All Over.
All these Kentucky boys still at it,
Just hard-headed,
A nod to Clarence Spalding at
Oh.
Maverick
Oh
Entertainment.
my God!
Well-
if he's out there listening this morning,
Uh-huh.
or if he will hear about it from
He'll
somebody
hear about
on
it.
the
Our
road.
former tour manager, who's now the
Turn
one-
Mr. Big Manager,
Mr. Big manager of everyone in town.
Power broker.
Power broker.
That's what he is.
Yeah,
Yes, he
exactly.
is.
He's a Music City power broker. And rough around the edges. 25 years ago, Travis Tritt cut this thing on an album, right?
He did.
And was this original Exile material?
Well, no, Les, JP, and our pal Larry Cordell
Great
You know, the
song.
Oh, that's
famous-
right.
Yeah.
The Mighty Chord.
The Mighty
Chord.
Chord. They wrote this again.
wrote-
It was 25 years ago. Just as writing a song to get cut, and Travis did cut the song. I think it was either slightly released or whatever. I'm not
There was
quite
some
sure the
confusion.
details.
Yeah.
But anyway, all these years later, as we were putting our project together, JP said, "Well, I've got this old song," and he pulled it out and played it. I went,
He played on the bus. We're all going, oh, yeah, let's
we need
that.
to cut that.
Yeah.
So we did.
And new music, 60-year journey, a million miles later, Exile. We heard a Rough Around the Edges, Kiss You All Over, circa 1978.
Yes, indeed.
And you guys were world stars. Where was the first international stop that you remember making as a result of that song?
It would be England,
England.
London. When we flew over to do Top of the Pops.
There's a famous show over there called Top of the Pops. It was like
Midnight Special was here, in the
okay.
70s.
Yeah.
Top of the Pops over there was their
it
big
was
show.
the show to do. So we
yeah.
would do that.
Beatles, Stones, famously,
Yeah.
would have done that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody did that.
Yeah.
And where else did you go throughout
Well,
Europe?
I went to Germany. Not that trip, though, I don't believe.
Germany,
Amsterdam,
Amsterdam.
golly.
Where else?
Where did you go
What?
that you were bigger than the headliner? There's that great funny
Well,
story
there's a
about
story.
you guys rolling into town playing a huge soccer stadium or something.
That was
golly.
South Africa. We went to
In
do
Johannesburg.
Johannesburg. Now, no one had told us. We'd had a bunch of hits over there. I mean, we were like the biggest group in the country. We didn't know that.
No, we didn't.
So it was like,
We did not.
a 20-hour flight. I mean, we're all just worn out and all tired and dirty. And back then, the planes parked on the tarmac, and you walked in. Well,
On a 747
Yeah.
walking down the the walkway.
we look, and there's 2,000-3,000 people standing in the airport.
Literally like the Beatles.
We're, we're literally looking around going, all right, who's on the plane with us?
Yeah, man, Getzman is really drawing these days.
Steve, man, those drums, they just...
I tell you what.
And they were there to see us, and we seriously did not have a clue.
Had no clue.
It was just, we were dumbfounded.
And as they came out, there were cameras there, TV cameras and microphones, and we literally still kept thinking, "Who is here? What is this?"
But wasn't there a headliner?
No,
that
we were the headliner.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
And then we played. Then a later date, we played a soccer stadium. It was like 35,000. Yeah. Oh, we expected to go out to see 5,000 or 6,000 people, and there's like 35,000, and we were going, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
Those are fun days.
Tell me about the documentary work that is now underway.
Yeah. Well, KET, Kentucky Educational Television,
Yep.
has agreed to do a documentary on Exile. And the guy that's heading it up, if you want to talk about it, is a guy named Tom Thurman, if you want to explain a little further, Steve.
Tom Thurman is actually a Lexington resident, but he lived in L.A. for a while, and he's done a lot of big documentaries. He did Sam Peckinpah, Hunter S. Thompson, Harry Dean Stanton, and I think 35 or 36 others. And so it's really kind of a coup that KET brought him in to do ours, and we're thrilled about it. The guy's really talented.
And to go along with the documentary, the interviews and everything else, we're doing a concert at Renfro Valley, Kentucky on November 4th. That will be filmed as part of the documentary.
And you're members of the Kentucky Music
Yes.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where it's headquartered.
So if folks want to attend that show November 4th, and be a part of the documentary, of course, come on, we'd love to have you. But
what kind of
it's
access have you had to give them so far?
Well, we haven't done any interviews yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm holding my breath when Steve gets interviewed. I'm just
Why? I didn't do anything.
So Steve's putting together interviews with us and with other artists, that we've worked with in the past.
Yeah.
So.
I know that Teddy Gentry and Randy are actually going to be interviewed for part of the documentary, which is kind of cool. Clarence going to be interviewed. Folks that have been kind of instrumental in our career, and it's really exciting to have a documentary on this band.
When did you realize that you and JP had that writing thing, that connection? Which on this album, by the way, she's Sharon Vaughn, songwriter Hall of Famer's name.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah.
With Sharon, I've known Sharon for umpteen years, and JP and I first wrote together, golly, probably the first country album we did is when we started writing together. And it was one of those things, with co-writes, it either clicks or it doesn't. And it clicked right away. I mean, we kind of realized that we just had a thing. I mean, the types
and not
of,
only a writing thing, but you had a sound.
Yeah,
that went with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody commented the other day about Exile known for vocals. The sound of those vocals are very distinctive, but also the way the five of us play together is also very distinctive. That adds to whatever Exile is, the sound is. It takes all five of us for that to happen. But with the songwriting, it came kind of quickly, and we had a rapport. And it worked, and we just kept doing it, and
still
are.
Yeah.
And Steve is the band's sense of humor. Would it be safe?
He has no sense of humor. He has none whatsoever. And, actually,
I don't know why I have this reputation.
he's relatively quiet this morning, which is unusual. Okay, I'm just saying.
I'm waiting.
I'm saying.
Actually, I'm struggling with a little bit of guilt.
Why is that?
Well, last time we were on, Bill paid me some nice compliments about my playing, and and I was asking questions, and I feel like I kind of cut you off, and I feel badly about that.
So you want to build you up even more?
You want to apologize to Bill? Is that what
yeah, and to make amends, I'd like to come on and do like a 30-day series on how to play drums.
Well, you can just say more nice things.
30 days, all right.
But Steve Getzman is a human metronome.
Absolutely.
He is the tightest cat
Let me tell
on a
you.
trap set.
Let me tell you what. As a bass player, I'm lucky to have my brother over here.
Because if everything's going well, you're on the downbeat together.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. So if something goes wrong, it's usually me, okay? Anyway, that's my brother. He's awesome.
Yeah, Mr. Steady right there.
Yeah, I love to watch him work.
Got to believe it.
We're brothers.
You didn't know?
Charlie, run the lineup that you're hosting
Get us out
tonight,
of here,
if you would.
We will kick it off with Rhonda Vincent and the Rage, the Whites, Mandy Barnett, Exile will wrap up the first half of the show, then Jason Crabb, Gene Watson, 20 years of celebrating Trace Atkins tonight.
What a show.
And a million miles
later, yeah.
It's Friday is drop day, right?
Yeah,
Friday.
it is.
You buy, download, or stream your favorite music.
It'll be all available Friday the 25th on all the streaming platforms, everywhere.
Okay. And Steve will be in the Opry parking lot with copies.
He's got about a few copies.
From his car. He'll be selling them.
Yeah.
Along with
I ain't no fool.
Exile merch. He also does merch.
There you go.
Guys, thank you for the memories, for the friendship over all these decades.
Thank you.
For getting up early and coming in.
You bet.
Anytime.
And we're going to close with the title track of the album, which, again, I referenced Sharon Vaughn writing with you and JP.
Yes.
That's the trio that wrote this song.
We did. And it's our
Have you had it a while? Or?
No. It was
relatively
part of the songs that we wrote for this project.
Okay.
And it's just our tribute, to our fans and our family that stuck together, that stuck with us all these years.
You heard it here from Exile.
Thanks for listening to the Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a 5-star review. This podcast was produced through the facilities of WSM Radio in Nashville, Tennessee. The hosts of Coffee, Country, and Cody are Bill Cody, Charlie Matos, and Kelly Sutton. Producer Eric Markham. WSM General Manager and Director of Content and Programming, J. Patrick Tittle. Copyright 2023. Opry Entertainment Group Holdings, LLC.